is People of the State of Michigan versus Anthony Anglin. Will the parties please introduce themselves to the record? Mrs. Zell.
Gabrielle Zell, Assistant Prosecutor for the People.
Mr. Goodrich.
And Luke Goodrich from the Public Defender's Office, here to represent Mr. Anglin, who's standing to my right today.
Sir, you are Anthony Anglin, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. This is a time set for a preliminary examination today. Mrs. Zell, how will we proceed?
Your Honor, at this time, the people have extended a plea offer. In this case, the plea offer is for Mr. Anglin to plead to an added count 4 of use under MCL 333-74042B, which is a 1-year misdemeanor or a $1,000 fine.
All right, let me make sure I got the 333.7402B.
Correct, Your Honor.
Okay. And that's a use?
Yes.
You can go ahead.
Upon successful plea to the use count, we would be dismissing counts 1, 2, and 3.
Okay. So that's an amended count 4.
It is, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Goodrich, I'll re-indicate that plea offer for the record. My understanding is there's going to be an amended count 4 of use of cocaine pursuant to 333.7402B. That's 1 year and or $1,000. With a successful plea and sentencing on that on account 4, counts 1, 2, and 3 will be dismissed. Is that your understanding of the plea offer, Mr. Goodrich?
Yes, it is.
All right. May I inquire of your client of his misdemeanor advice of rights for the plea?
Yes, Your Honor. And I would state that I believe the factual basis is going to be to the original count 2.
Okay, so it'll be the possession?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right, Mr. Anglin, you have the following jury trial rights in this 1-year misdemeanor. I'm going to walk you through those. All right, sir? You have the right to be tried by a jury, to be presumed innocent until proven guilty, to have the prosecutor prove beyond reasonable doubt that you are guilty, to have witnesses against you appear at trial, the questioning witnesses that are brought against you. You're represented today by attorney Luke Goodrich, and he would be present to cross-examine any witnesses or contest any charges brought against you by the people of the state of Michigan. You have the right to have the court order any witnesses appear in your defense or remain silent during the trial, not to have that silence used against you, and to testify at trial if you choose to testify. If your plea is accepted, you'll give up the claim the plea was a result of any promises other than what's been stated on the record. Or threats that it was not your choice to plead guilty. You'd also be giving up the right to appeal anything from a trial, since you won't be having a trial. You'll be pleading guilty to the 1-year misdemeanor instead. Is it your wish today to waive your jury trial rights and plead to the 1-year misdemeanor?
Yes, sir.
All right. I'm going to have you raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under penalty of perjury?
Yes.
All right. I'm going to bring your attention back to March 1st of 2018 at 300 West Grand River in the city of Lansing, Ingham County. Were you at that Grand River address in the city of Lansing, Ingham County on March 1st, 2018?
Yes.
And pursuant to the plea offer, were you in possession of a narcotic, cocaine, heroin, or other narcotic at that time?
Yes.
Okay, what substance?
Heroin.
Okay. And you knew it was heroin at the time, it wasn't by accident?
Yes.
Okay. Anything for the factual basis, that's the factual basis for count 2, that would appease for count 4, the misdemeanor. Anything towards the factual basis, Mrs. L?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Goodrich?
No, Your Honor.
I find the plea to be knowing, voluntarily, and accurately made. And we'll refer to probation. It's 2018 fact pattern, but it's been 5 years, so we want to be able to catch up. So we'll refer to probation. So stop by the 5th floor is the probation office, and they'll either set up an appointment or see you right now. I think they'll probably set up an appointment because I don't know if they're going to see you on a Friday. But you'll come in and they'll do a report. They'll do a report for me, and then we'll see what options are available to us at sentencing. All right, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right. All right. We have a sentencing date of
April 24th.
April 24th at 8:30. At 8:30?
8:30.
Okay. So we've set the sentencing for April 24th at 8:30. Go down to probation, find out when you're supposed to be there. They may do the report today, but on a Friday, I'd be surprised. And but they'll set it up for you to come in. Just be as candid as possible with them. All right. All right. Anything else for the record in 1805291, Mrs. L.
Not for the people.
Mr. Goodrich.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Anglin, we'll see you on that April 24th date. Good luck to you, sir.
Wait 1 second, Mr. England.
Oh, yeah, you'll get a notice from my court officer. She'll give you notice of that date, so you have something. Thank you. It's Valentine's Day, Mrs. L.
It is.
We have Mr. Milks to let us know that we're all gonna be here on Valentine's Day.
He'll be here
So
soon.
we have no excuse for not knowing it's Valentine's Day. I addressed that with Mr. Milks. So now we can't say like, oh, I forgot, because we pretty much know where we are. It's right here. I have a friend who calls Valentine's Day Singles Recognition Day. I kind of like that. You can participate or you can choose not to. It depends. You're single, so you can make your own rules. I kind of like that. Do we have anything else? That was Mr. Goodrich. I see Mr. Sartz is here. Mr. Zaney's also here.
Good morning, happy Valentine's Day, Your Honor.
Happy Valentine's Day, Mr. Zaney.
Your Honor, I do believe we could go on the Lance Travis case
All right,
and allow Mr. Sartz to get out of here.
all right. And should we bring up Mr. Travis?
I'll waive his appearance, Your Honor. I'll go
Okay.
down and meet with him and
All right.
don't do this. Thank you.
And Mr. Johnson just joined us, and I think Mr. Johnson's here on the conflict case. Is that correct?
And Miss Redmond.
Miss Redmond.
That's correct, Your Honor.
All right. I'm going to call Mr. Sart's case, and we'll is Miss Redmond here today?
I'm right here.
All right. Did you want to talk to Mr. Johnson, your attorney?
I haven't even met him yet.
Maybe Mr. Johnson, let's put you in a breakout room with Miss Redmond, and you can talk about the case to where it's going. Will that work for you, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So we don't have anybody. So follow my court officer. She'll put you on an iPad, and then we'll put you in a breakout room with Mr. Johnson. He's in another court right now. Okay. All right. It's Mr. Lamb, Travis. Is that right?
Sure.
That's correct, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. All right, so we're on the record in docket 22-02526. That is People of the State of Michigan versus Lance Travis. Will the parties please introduce themselves for the record? Mrs. L.
Gabrielle Zell, Assistant Prosecutor for the People.
Mr. Sartz.
Good morning, Your Honor. Jacob Sartz, the fourth Assistant Public Defender, covering for the attorney record on this file, Stephen Feigelson. Mr. Feigelson sends his apologies, Your Honor. He is in front of Judge Aquilina waiting on a jury verdict.
All right. And Mr. Travis, we know where he is. He's in custody. And Mr. Sartz, you indicated that you'll tell, you guys know the case better than I do, but you'll let Mr. Travis know of anything we're doing here today, since we're not bringing him up from lockup. Is that a fair statement, Mr. Sartz?
That's correct, Your Honor. I'll waive his appearances for the purpose of this motion. I'll meet with him downstairs.
All right. And my understanding is that we did adjourn in December for good cause. That was like December 22. And then it was set for prelim, and then it was a failed to appear. And he was recently just arraigned on January of 2025. Right, Mrs. L, how are we proceeding on the preliminary examination?
Your Honor, today the necessary witnesses for the People have not appeared. We have attempted to contact them. We have not been able to do so. I have been checking the hallway in the courtroom today to see if the necessary witnesses have appeared, and they have not.
All right. So the people are unable to proceed today, and the witnesses were subpoenaed.
Correct, Your Honor.
So do you expect a motion from the defense on the case?
I do, Your Honor.
Mr. Sartz, you may proceed with the motion.
Thank you, Your Honor. The defense moves to dismiss at this time. Respectfully, defense is prepared and able to proceed. This morning, the people are unable to proceed. The defense moves to dismiss at this time, Your Honor. And Mr. Travis understands this would be dismissed without prejudice. We'll meet with them again again explain in more detail what exactly that means. Respectfully, Your Honor, I request dismissal at this time. Thank you.
All right, so I'm in possession of the order of acquittal or dismissal for 22-02526. As indicated, the people are unable to proceed because the witnesses who were subpoenaed have failed to appear. I'm going to grant the motion to dismiss, as counsel said, without prejudice, which means the people could reissue if they choose to, but for our purpose today, the case is dismissed. And you'll relate this, as indicated, you'll relate the same to Mr. Travis. Make sure Mr. Travis knows, I don't know if he's on GPS or not, but it takes about a day to purge everything from the system. So any orders, just make him aware of that he's got at least till 5 today to make sure that all the orders are purged. Because if he gets picked up on anything, it's going to read that he's got some pretrial conditions. And it takes about a day to purge that from the computer system.
Understood, Your
All
Honor.
right.
I'll explain it to him. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to sign the order of dismissal. Anything else for the record in docket 22-02526, Mrs. L?
Not for the people.
Mr. Sarnes?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Right,
Thank you.
we're all set. Thank you for your appearance tonight. Bring out, so you've got the iPad, ma'am. Okay. So I'll bring Mr. Johnson back. And then once we deal with the Redmond case, did you need some time or were you ready to go on anything else?
We would be ready on the Meisner case.
All right, is that Mr. Zaney? Okay. All right, let's Miss Redmond, you can come up here. All right, so we're on the record in docket 24-03522. That is People of the State of Michigan versus Jessica Redmond. Will the parties please introduce themselves for the record? Mrs. L.
Gabrielle Zell, Assistant Prosecutor for the people.
Mr. Johnson.
Good morning, may it please this honorable court, Kareem Johnson, appearing on behalf of Ms. Redmond.
And ma'am, you are Jessica Redmond, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. This is time set for a preliminary examination today. Ms. Zell, how are we proceeding, or would you like to defer to Mr. Johnson? I will indicate that the 21-day rule was waived as of January 16th, and there may or may not be some outstanding discovery. I don't know if Mr. Johnson has that or not, but but some of that depends on whether he's filed. An appearance has to be filed in order to get discovery.
Correct, Your Honor. I do believe that we are still missing the appearance for Mr. Johnson, and so we have not been able to get discovery to him on this case. We would ask for a little bit of time to do so.
All right, and is that a fair statement, Mr. Johnson? Once we get the appearance, we'll be able to the prosecutor's office will be able to send the discovery over to for your review, and so you can zealously advocate for your client.
Yes, Your Honor, I sent the substitution of appearance, I believe, on the 29th of January. I don't know, what happened. I've forwarded that email to the court and to the public defender's office. Pardon me?
I don't have it in our file, so it hasn't found its way. So you might want to send another. I do have the writs. Let's see. I have the writ, Miss Redmond. That was I have a couple writs. Okay. But in order to get discovery, I don't have any appearance. So you might want to just send it again, just in case. So we make sure the discovery is all, you're getting the discovery, because you won't get discovery until the court has an appearance, regardless of if the court, I don't know where the appearance is. So, but we'll adjourn. How many days are we seeking for the adjournment?
At least 2 weeks. Now.
Yeah, at least 2 weeks. Is that a fair statement, Mr. Johnson?
Yes, Your Honor, and I understand this matter's been on the court's docket for quite some time, so I'll make myself available in 2 weeks.
All right. So let's do, we'll do 2 weeks or over, just to make sure there's plenty of time to review any type of discovery that comes. There shouldn't be this is a methamphetamine case, correct?
Correct.
I think that's a charge. So, but there could be multiple cameras involved or something. So we'll reset, so we'll adjourn the prelim for discovery purposes and appearance purposes. And reset for
Excuse me, February 28th at 9.
February 28th at 9 o'clock. So as previously indicated, the 21-day was waived by Ms. Redmond. We'll reset for February 28th at 9 o'clock. That'll give some time to get the discovery to Mr. Johnson, and you should get notice from my court officer for that date.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else for the record in 24-03522, Mrs. L?
Not for the people.
Mr. Johnson, anything else?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Okay, you're all set. We'll see you on that February 28th date, ma'am. Thank you for your appearance today.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day. Then you said we're ready to go on Mr. Meisner.
Yes.
Right, Mr. Zaney, you can come forward with your client. All right, so we're on the record in docket 24-03749. That is people of the state of Michigan versus Caleb Meisner. Will the parties please introduce themselves to the record? Mrs. L.
Gabrielle Zell, Assistant Prosecutor for the people.
Mr. Zaney.
Edward Zane, on behalf of Mr. Meisner, he's present to my right, Your Honor.
And sir, you are Caleb Meisner, is that correct?
Sir.
All right, thank you. This is the time set for a preliminary examination today. Mrs. L, how are we proceeding, or would you like to defer?
Your Honor, it's my understanding that we have been adjourning this case in order to try to get a global resolution with the case that is currently being filed in the 55th District Court. That case has just been assigned to a judge as of yesterday.
You know which judge drew that?
Judge Hillman.
Judge
Yeah.
Hillman, okay.
So we are hoping to get another brief adjournment to see if that case gets on the docket before that, so we
Right.
can move forward
Is
with that. resolution.
that a felony case or a misdemeanor? Because it could be,
Felony.
so it'd be in 2 weeks.
Yeah, so
right?
we're gonna have at least the PCC, and I
Right.
think my goal is to get the discovery to determine whether or not there is a certain approach I need to take on that case.
Right.
Kind of understand where I need to go with this case, and ultimately, if they want to give me a resolution, we'll deal with it. But
All right, and the 21-day rule was waived as of January 2nd, 2025 on this case. So we'll grant the adjournment for global resolution. Or for at least a review for.
Please, yeah, because I don't want to be bound to
Yeah.
the court if I have to
Right.
waive up, or, you know, it's,
Right.
we're gonna engage in, I think, good faith discussions as to where the cases need to go, but
Right.
I'm still gonna defend him, you know.
So grant adjournment for review for global resolution, understanding there's another case in 55th. And Mr. Zaney's correct. It'll be here it'll be at least reviewed in the next by the probable cause conference. And then we'll reset this for outside that date of PCC and prelim date. So probably the end of February.
I would say, let's go into like the second week of March.
Okay.
And the reason that would, because then we buy our PCC and prelim out
Right.
there, I don't anticipate any 21-day waivers
Right.
in that case.
So so we'll do this, and then we'll get a date, and I know you have a schedule you have to look at. I know where to find you, Mrs. L, you're right here. So, or in Judge Simmons, as of yesterday, you were in Judge Simmons. So second or third week of March, I would think.
The second, if you could, I'm supposed to travel the third week.
Okay.
March 14th at 8:30.
Does March 14th at 8:30 work for your schedule?
That's up for a PE.
Yeah.
Could we set it for
PCC?
a PCC? And I'd ask the court to consider a Zoom appearance. I anticipate I'll be traveling the 14th, 13th, 14th. That's my
Right.
kind of target date. I'll either send the associate out or I'll appear by Zoom.
I don't have a problem with just making that a PCC date in order for the parties, because we have another case out there you have to negotiate on. And then a Zoom is appropriate for a PCC.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And then since the 21 days already been waived, we will hold off on setting a prelim date. We may or may not need it.
Right.
All right.
And I'll communicate with Mrs. L. She works well in emailing back and
All right.
responding. So I think we'll have a better understanding in the near future.
All right, so we'll set for PCC on March 14th at 8:30. Zoom is appropriate. And we'll go from there. Anything else for the record in 2403-749, Mrs. L?
Not for the people.
Mr. Zane.
None from the fence, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Meisner, we'll see you on March 14th at 8:30. You can appear at that hearing via Zoom or depending. It's really up to you. You can come live too if you want. All right. All right. That's all for the record. 2403-749. Everybody, thank you for your appearance
Thank you.
today.
Thank you. I'll be in touch.
Yeah,
I'll
let
double
me
check.
know.
Maybe I'll double check.
Okay, because I can give it to you whenever.
Oh, appreciate it. Thank you. Your Honor, enjoy your Valentine's Day.
You enjoy your Valentine's Day, Mr. Zaney.
My wife reminded me of Valentine's Day after I left the house.
See, we can't hide behind any, we know exactly where we are on Valentine's Day. There's no excuse will be accepted. Mr. Milk said that he's not responsible for his wife's a judge in Eaton County.
Oh, yeah.
And so he's not responsible for any gifts associated because he can't give it to the judge. And I'm like, well, that's,
Oh, lucky man.
well, I told him that's your home life. So act accordingly.
Yeah. We know what they say.
Yeah, exactly. That's your home life.
Take care.
Mr. Levine, how are you?
Good morning, Your Honor. How are you?
I'm pretty good.
I am gonna ask that you just stick around for that waiver, just in case things comes out, and maybe that. It should be very brief after once she comes out.
All right, so is that the Thomas case?
It is, Your Honor, and it does sound like that will be a waiver
All
at
right,
this time.
we can place that on the record. Mr. Levine can get his client.
Absolutely. I'm just saying, but yeah, she's outside the meter, putting a little bit more money in the meter, she'll be ready.
All right, that's fine. Mr. Milks, are your ears burning? Because
Yes, Your Honor.
we're all here without an excuse for Valentine's Day.
What?
And I have told everybody a novel idea of not being responsible for any judge's gifts.
That's true.
Yeah,
yes.
that is conceptually a novel idea. I think that's going to be made by someone who resides in your home, not mine.
No, that's fair.
Your Honor, may I just briefly go excuse some officers?
Yes, and then we've got Mr. Milks, you're here on Mr. Lewis, is that correct?
I am, Your Honor.
Excuse your guy. But just.
Oh, did you?
He's already gone.
Love that. And then I do have my officer.
He is here.
You did?
Yep, no, Wendy's requesting it.
I never put that warrant session in. I see about that too. I didn't realize you had enough. to do, so I just laid it on my desk. So we have the files.
You need to grab that.
You have it. You have the warrant file. Are you petitioning on
I'm
both
gonna go run down
cases?
the top of here.
Go right out of time.
My best suggestion is make a copy of it and write out one case number, because if you don't send two separate orders to the forensic department, you're gonna get a message from the clerk's office.
They might get confused.
It-
makes
it
sense.
just snowballs.
No, it's a good point.
You hand that to me, we'll make them a copy.
All right,
One for each file.
okay.
On Saturday, and so I have to drive.
We'll just charge them for administrative services.
No, that makes sense. Yeah.
It's
The,
about $150.
Wait, what?
Wow.
Oh, those are lawyer rates. You can do that.
Sure we can.
I don't know who's collecting that money, but I'm not. Yeah, I wouldn't say that on the record, Megan.
No, I wouldn't. Or use someone else's name.
She's been saying, "Okay, breathe," even though she's not.
Thank you.
So that is,
She's like, "Hold on,
We're gonna do one
don't
for
act so
each
it's a
file.
little better."
that's a good
Here, I'll
idea. So
just
this is
my-
for the,
Still,
this is for the
Assault.
assault.
And he's doing one for the arson that's been passed today.
Okay.
I believe it's arson.
So, yeah, she doesn't do well in apartments, and our last apartment charged us.
It's like, you gotta be like, you gotta get that. 'Cause
I just
then-
want to
No, I think.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Oh, yeah, because it's tiny
Judge should be okay with their weddings unless somebody runs behind the judge.
Just let us know.
Stop it.
That was never issued, right?
They also,
Yeah. So I can just wash. that.
yep, just wash it. Thank you, Judge. No, I started to go over there yesterday, but
Right. Makes sense.
yeah, I was helpful.
And that one's on the base case.
Just to
right?
make everything more confusing, Judge.
Okay.
Sorry. So I had the right, we just need to switch the brief I put in them because of the case number. And it,
I have 243240 on this one.
yes, and I switched them because,
This is the brief on 159.
right, which is this one. So just putting that with that and that with that.
Okay,
'Cause I
perfect.
Screwed all up.
Right, no, you're good.
And I think I need to sign
You might have to sign this
one.
back.
Sorry, thank you.
No. No worries.
No, I did sign.
This one's not signed.
Yes, that's the one.
All right. So, I think that's the second page on that one. And then we'll do one file at a time to make sure that the one, because we have a 48 hours on the PCC for the PCC.
Yeah.
That we can do away with that.
Thank you, Judge. All right.
All right, Mr. Lewis, you can come up here. So we're on the record in dockets. Let's start with the PCC file 2500159. That is people of the state of Michigan versus Roy Lewis. Will the parties please introduce themselves to the record? Mrs. L.
Gabrielle Zell, Assistant Prosecutor for the People.
Mr. Milks.
Good morning, Your Honor. Stephen Milks on behalf of Mr. Lewis. Mr. Lewis is present and standing to my right.
And sir, you are Roy Lewis, is that correct?
That's right.
All right, thank you. This is the time set for a preliminary examination. Well, this is what happened on this file. There was a fail to appear on the PCC, which was last week. And we put a 48-hour hold, and then we just waited to see if he showed up for this prelim, and Mr. Lewis is showing up today. So it's my understanding that because of the request for package for forensic valuation will be adjourning this with the other file so that Mr. Lewis can be interviewed by the forensic psychiatry evaluation for that report. Is that your understanding, Mrs. L?
It is, Your Honor.
Mr. Milks.
That is, Your Honor, yes.
All right. So we will adjourn for, and I will sign the order. We have the packets. And this is for the adjournment on 25159. Adjourn for packet for forensic evaluation. I've quashed any warrant. I've just drawn a line through it and quashed, just so you don't have to worry about that, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
And I will sign this order accordingly. I was about to ask what day it was. We don't have to worry about that.
I know what day it is, Your Honor.
Yes, yes, we all know it's day. It's Single Appreciation Day. That's what that's what I've been told. And so we will sign the order for competency examination. I've signed that, and defendants to be interviewed. And any warrant is quashed on that case. And then let's go ahead and set a control date, just so we can keep an eye on when the evaluation's done and then we're waiting for the report, because that's the problem. It's one thing to get the evaluation done, and then we got to wait for the report. And we want to keep track of the file. So we'll set a control date for, May 16th.
At 8:30.
May 16th at 8:30. And then we'll address our status of where we are then on the file in regards to the forensic evaluation. All right, so that's all for the record in 2500159. Mrs. Zell, anything else on that file?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Mills.
The review date is beyond 60 days. There's the statute requires it to be.
I think you're right. I think you're right. Yeah.
60, okay.
Yeah, we got to do it within 60 days.
1 minute, please.
I think you're absolutely right. Hi. I am I back that last week of April?
Yeah.
Like the 24th?
Yeah, but that's past 60 days.
All right, so let's go. Here's the problem. Part of the problem is me, because I'm taking off the first 3 weeks of April because I'm getting a new knee. And so, yeah, and evidently that's a big deal. At least that's what the surgeon says. It's a big deal to replace the knee. I didn't know that, but now I know. So I took some time accordingly. That's what we're trying to work around.
How about March 27th at 9?
March 27th at 9 o'clock. And we'll set both files for that date, because I think the other file's gonna be in the same position. So does that's within 60 days, March 27th at 9 a.m. Is that a fair date, Mr. Milks?
Yes, Your Honor, that should be just fine. Thank you.
All right, so we're on so that's all for the record in 2500159. And I've signed that order of examination.
What time is it? 8:30?
8:30, I believe. 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock. And then we're on the record in the current file of 2500159. Appearances for the record, Mrs. Zell.
Gabrielle Zell, Assistant Prosecutor for the People.
Mr. Milks.
And good morning again, Your Honor. Stephen Milks on behalf of Mr. Lewis. Mr. Lewis is present and standing to my right.
And on this file, sir, you are Roy Lewis. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. This is the time set for preliminary examination on this file. Indicate that the waiver of the 21-day rule is January 17th. We have, I am in possession of a packet to be interviewed for the forensic evaluation. Is that your understanding of Ms. Zell?
It is, Your Honor.
All right. Now, this is the arson. Is that a fair statement, Mr. Mills?
Yes, it is, Your Honor. Thank
All
you.
right. So we will adjourn this similarly as in the last file. We'll adjourn for interview for the forensic center evaluation. Same as last file, and then we'll set the date, a control date for the same date. What was that date again?
March 27th at 9 p.m.
March 27th at 9 a.m. I will sign the order on 25 and 2403-240. So the order is signed and we've got a control date of March 27th at 9 a.m. Anything else for the record on 2403-240, Mrs. L?
Not for the people.
Mr. Mills?
No, Your Honor, but regarding 25159, I think that we need to do a waiver of a good cause finding of the 21-day rule. We did waive in the arson case, this one.
I have a waiver on this on January 17th.
If we did that, then that's, is it for the arson case, Your Honor?
It's the attempt arson case.
Yes,
Yeah.
3240, we did do a
Let me,
waiver.
let me confirm that because this is more than one file. Let's confirm that.
There is no waiver at this time.
Yeah, 159, I'm
So
sorry.
so there's no waiver on, we don't have a waiver. I have a waiver in my notes
Right, but this file.
Yeah, the other file.
on 3240, but yeah, but it's written in the wrong file. That's my fear.
We did do a waiver on 243240 FY back on the 17th. The court's absolutely correct.
Okay,
25159 was issued a week or two after the initial.
okay. So it's my understanding Mr. Lewis does not have to do a waiver on this file because of the packet.
Yeah, and sorry,
That-
yes, Your Honor. I think there's a good cause there, absolutely.
All right.
I yeah.
Just covering your, I understand.
Okay.
I understand. And then on 2403-240, we do have a previous waiver of January 17th, and a packet's also been filed in this case also.
Thank you very much.
So we'll set it for control date on March 27th. So Mr. Lewis, you're out. So what you'll get is a letter from the forensic evaluation in order to show up for an interview process. Is that a fair statement?
Absolutely, Your Honor.
Yeah.
And I believe that's supposed to be conducted at our office. We get our clients
Correct.
connected by Zoom. I've spoken with Mr. Lewis. I'm going to speak to his family as well. His family's been my go-to for communications when I'm able to get to hold them. So we'll make sure that everyone's aware of that, Your Honor.
Right. And usually the interview goes smoothly. It's getting the report that's what we have. That's why we set it for control date, because we want to know the activity for getting the report, because depending on their manpower, they can be real fast or real slow on that. Okay. But we want to make sure we don't lose track of that once.
Your Honor, regarding the control date, if we do have to appear for that, assuming we don't have the report, would it be okay if my client appears via Zoom?
Absolutely. Do you have any objection to that?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. There might be, you're gonna have to take a look. There might be there might be two of these.
Okay, I'll take it.
Yeah, take a look at that. But the orders have been signed on both files.
Perfect. I'll take a look.
All right. All right. That's all for the record in 2500159. I'm sorry, we already did that one. That's all for the record in 2403240. That is the current preliminary examination that was scheduled for today. Thank you, everybody, for your appearance today.
Thank you very much, Your Honor.
You're all set, Mr. Lewis.
Okay, man.
I think they have the same number. Those cover sheets. They both have 159. That one, but I think that's the wrong one. We can fix them.
You blame me?
Yes. Because the orders are already signed, so.
We're good. I got it.
And then we're waiting for Mr. Levine and his client. On the top six. Right, so let's take 10 and when they come get me when they're ready on Anisha Thomas.
All rise.
Can you see that?
I know. Steve, you're killing me. Where did he go?
I think he walked his client out. Oh, is it? She had to go take a phone call.
Oh,
She told me.
no. Steve, you still had that mixed up. I just wrote on your orders and fixed everything.
I screwed everything up there.
So you had too many petitions and not enough orders.
That sounds like something I would do.
It's fine. I got it. Just in case they call you and they wonder if this is what you really meant, the answer would be yes.
The answer would be yes, just agree.
Yeah,
I was,
I fixed it.
thank you.
Just working in criminal that time, I just know how the forensics works and I know what a pain it is if they don't have all of their. They like their ducks.
That makes sense. That
They'll
makes a
send
lot
it
of
back
sense.
and then it goes to the clerk's office.
All right, so we're on the record in docket 24027995. That is People of the State of Michigan versus Anisha Thomas. Will the parties please introduce themselves for the record? Mrs. L.
Gabrielle Zell, Assistant Prosecutor for the people.
Mr. Levine.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning. Attorney Bryant Levine on behalf of Anisha Thomas. She's present and standing on my right.
And ma'am, you are Anisha Thomas, is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you. This is the time set for a preliminary examination today. Mrs. L, how we proceed?
Your Honor, it's my understanding that there will be a waiver in this case. There is a plea offer that we would like to put on the record for that waiver as well.
All right. Examination, and you may proceed with placing the plea offer on the record.
Currently, Your Honor, we are offering that upon successful plea and sentencing to count 1, operating while intoxicated, causing serious bodily injury under MCL 257-6255. We will be dismissing count 2 of reckless driving causing serious impairment upon that sentencing and plea. The negotiations on sentencing would be continuing in circuit court.
Is that a fair statement, Mr. Levine?
It is, Your Honor.
All right. May I inquire your client of the waiver of the preliminary examination?
Indeed.
Ms. Thomas, you understand you have a right to preliminary examination today. The preliminary examination is a probable cause hearing in which the people would have to prove by probable cause evidence that a crime has been committed and the identity of the person who committed that crime. You are represented today by attorney Barrett Levine, and you'd be present to cross-examine any witnesses or contest any charges brought against you by the people of the state of Michigan. The offer's been placed on the record in order for the waiver. So the terms of the offer, is it your wish today, based on what you've heard placed on the record, is it your wish today to waive your right to a preliminary examination today?
Yes.
All right. Do the people also waive their right to a preliminary examination today?
We do, Your Honor.
Okay. I find the waiver of the preliminary examination to be knowing, voluntarily, and accurately made. And I'll provide the bind over documentation for the parties to sign. All right, I'm in possession of the bind over documentation on docket 24027995 that's signed by each party in this matter. I'll indicate that the examination was waived on today's date, which is 2/14/2025. Anything to come to the court's attention before the court signs the bind over notice, Ms. Azell?
Not from the people.
Mr. Levine?
Not from a salary.
All right, I'm going to sign the bind over documentation as indicated. So, ma'am, your time in district court is done. You're off to circuit court where the case is going to continue. You should get your next date in circuit court from your attorney, Mr. Levine, okay? All right, the plea offer's been placed on the record. Anything else for the record in 24027995, Mrs. Zell?
Not for the people.
Mr. Levine?
Not from a state.
You're all set, Ms. Thomas. Thank you for your appearance today.
Thank you.
Mr. Herrick is
So let's go get Mr. Herrick. Yeah. You need some time to talk to him.
No, I've talked to him
All right.
times already.
You're nice today if I had any rubber bands. You're nice today if I have any rubber bands.
Making another rubber band ball.
No. Karen asked if I had any rubber bands today.
Oh,
I have a few of them. So remind me and I'll take those.
that's a lot.
I had, because every file comes with it on it, but I had a bunch in my desk, but I have a whole bunch out here too. Yeah, I just have one or two.
You can just put it all the way, just in case I say something stupid.